Hey guys, Mrs. Floyd here. Hope you're having a good Monday so far. Figured this was the best way to teach it to you since I'm not face-to-face. But notice how this says lesson 55 and 56. So you are going to be using this for today and tomorrow's lesson, this particular page. And I will also post a video for lesson 56 as well that you can watch tomorrow. So today you are learning how to add and subtract fractions that do not have common denominators. And this is something that you've probably learned before, so it should be review, I'm hoping. But just as a little bit of background, so 3/5 and 2/5, these are known as common denominators because obviously 5 and 5 are the same number. Over here, 3/4 and 1/2 are considered to be uncommon denominators because 4 and 2 are not the same. So we are learning how to work with these guys today because with this, if you have to add or subtract, you're only working with the numerators. But when this is involved and you have uncommon denominators, you have to make them the same denominator. Okay, so if you remember back to when we did equivalent fractions, you learned how to change one fraction into another one that was equal. Okay, so we're putting that skill into practice today. So the step one is when denominators are not the same, you have to find the LCM of the denominators. Okay, so I'm actually going to flip over to my workbook page today. And you don't have to pay attention to this stuff because I'm going to teach it to you a little bit different than the book does. So we're just going to work right here with number 1. So number 1, we have 2/3 and 1/6. Obviously 6 and 3 are not the same, but we have to make them the same. So the way we do that is we get the LCM of 3 and 6. Okay, so if you just wanted to write it to the side here, you could. So we have 3, 6, 9, and it goes on and on and on. Okay, and then for 6 we have 6, 12, 18, and it goes on and on and on. So obviously the smallest number that is in both of these groups is 6. So 6 is our LCM for number 1. Now the beauty of this is 1/6 does not need to be changed because 6 is already the denominator. So you are only renaming the fractions that has a different denominator than the LCM, okay, which is step 2 on this sheet. So it says rename the fractions whose denominators don't equal the LCM. Okay, so we have the LCM, which is 6. So we need to just leave the 1/6 how it is, but we need to change the 2/3. And the way we're going to do that is I have to mentally ask myself, what times 3 gives me 6? Because I want 6 to be my denominator since it's down here. Okay, and this is where the equivalent fraction piece comes in that you've already learned. So mentally ask yourself, what times 3 gives me 6? And if you said 2, you are correct. So remember, 3 times 2 gives me 6. So now I have to multiply the numerator by that as well. So 2 times 2 is 4/6. Okay, so now I have 4/6, and I'm just going to scoot 1/6 over here. So it's in a nice straight line for addition. And I'm just going to simply add the numerators. So 4 plus 1 is 5. And then 6 is my denominator. Sorry about that, guys. So 5/6 is my answer. Okay, and so we did step 1, 2, and 3, of course. After the fractions are renamed, then you add or subtract to finish the problem, whatever it has you do. So let's just look at maybe number 2 and 3, 4, and 5. Since this is a video, I'll kind of just go through it a little quicker. And I'm actually going to do number 2 and 3 on the paper, but I'll do 4 and 5 maybe down here or on a separate sheet. So 1/2 and 1/4, obviously not the same denominators. So I have to get the LCM of 4 and 2. Okay, so I'm just going to write that up here. So I have 2, 4, 6, and then it goes on. And then I have 4, 8, 12, and of course it goes on and on. So the LCM is 4. Okay, so guess what? I only need to change the 1/2 because 1/4 already has 4 as the denominator, which is my LCM. So I'm going to mentally ask myself, I'm so sorry guys, I'm doing this after school and my husband is texting me. So I need to mentally ask myself, what times 2 gives me 4? And if you said 2, you're right. So 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, and then I have to multiply the numerator by 2 as well. So 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, so I've renamed my fraction to where it has the same denominator. I'm just going to scoot my 1/4 over. And this one's an addition problem. So 2 plus 1 is 3. And then my denominator comes down. So my answer is 3/4. Okay, so hopefully this is getting a little bit easier for you. So number 3, I have 2 and 8 as my denominators, so they are not the same, so I have to get my LCM. So for that one, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, and then for 8, I have 8, 16, and it goes on and on. Okay, so obviously the smallest number that is in both of those groups is 8. So that is my LCM. And I got lucky again. I don't need to change both of these fractions. I only need to change the 1/2. So I'm going to mentally ask myself, what times 2 gives me 8? And you should say 4. Okay, so 2 times 4 is 8. So I need to multiply my 1 by 4 as well. And I get 4. Okay, so I have renamed my fraction. So I'm just going to scoot my 3/8 over, and this is a subtraction problem. So 4 minus 3 is 1, and then I bring down my denominator. And that's it for that one. Okay, so now I'm going to do, because I'm running out of room, I'm going to do 4 and 5 on a separate sheet of paper here. So number 4, I have 3/4 plus the 3/8. Obviously, I do not have the same denominator, so I have to get my LCM of 8 and 4. So I have 4, 8, 12, and of course it goes on. And then I have 8, 16, and then it goes on and on. So I have 8 as my LCM, and I got lucky one more time because I only need to change 3/4. So I'm going to ask myself mentally, what times 4 gives me 8? So 4 times 2 gives me 8. So then I multiply that 3 by 2 as well. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then I'm going to scoot my 3/8 over. And this is an addition problem. So 6 plus 3 gives me 9 eighths. But I can't leave it like that because that is an improper fraction because my numerator is bigger than my denominator. So I need to change that to a mixed number. And in order to do that, you know how to do this, guys. You're going to divide. Goes one time. So my answer is actually 1 1/8 for number 4. Okay. Last but not least is number 5. And number 5, I have 7/12 minus 1/3. I'm going to do it on this sheet of paper here. So I don't have the same denominator, so I got to change those. So for 3, I have 3, 6, 9, 12. And then for 12, notice how I'm stopping when I see, that there's a repeat in the list here. So obviously 12 is my denominator, or my LCM as well. So I need to change just the 1/3. So I'm going to mentally ask myself, what times 3 gives me 12? And you should say 4. So 3 times 4 gives me 12. So then 1 times 4 gives me 4. And I'm just going to scoot my 7/12 over. I didn't leave myself a lot of space there. So 7 minus 4 is 3. And then 12 is my denominator. But I do need to reduce that. So when I do that, that reduces down to 1/4. And that's my answer. And that will conclude lesson 55, guys. So I hope you do well on your homework and continue to be good for Mrs. Meyer. And have a great day, y'all.